Okay, welcome everyone to our episode 4 of our webinar series. My name is Jake Worrell, Nolan Brunworth, and we are very excited to lead episode 4 here. Again, I'm Jake Worrell. I'm the Executive Director for Game Changer Athletes. Nolan is our Director of Development, and we couldn't be more excited to have our 4th episode here. We're pleased to introduce our speakers today, Aaron Layton, who is our coordinator for minority community development and inclusion. He's also a Bible and U.S. history teacher at Westminster Christian Academy. Go Cats.
Go Cats.
Jen Brooks, who is the Ursuline Academy athletic director. We also have Gary Spiller here, who's our executive director of student services and innovation at University City High School. He's having some communication difficulties here, so he may be in and out. Before we jump into our program, there's a few things I want to run through. First, thank you to Gary, Aaron, and Jen for being here, especially on a holiday, taking the time to talk to parents and high school students, and even kids expecting to get into high school, giving them advice and experience to get plugged in. Today's webinar is a recording. It will be available on our social media sites at the end of this week. If you would like it sent to you personally, whoever is listening, please put that in the comments, and I'll be sure to get that to you by the end of this week when it uploads. Next, if you are watching, for those of you watching and listening, if you guys could just pull out your phones real quick, pull up all of our social media pages, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, search Game Changer Athletes. Give us a follow and a like. That helps us grow our pages, as well as keep you updated on any upcoming events on our schedule. Lastly, I want to thank our sponsor. This is our first sponsor for our webinar series. Thank you to Wes and his team at Wes Coon State Farm. Wes is a good friend of mine. We couldn't be more excited to partner with him in his business. State Farm has all your needs for home, auto, life insurance, as well as financial services like a checking and savings account, credit and debit cards, and even money markets. State Farm also does auto loans. If you're in the purchase of getting a new car, you can get an auto loan through State Farm, as well as your home mortgage. They just started doing that a couple years ago. I have all my insurance with Wes, and he's been nothing but amazing for me and my family. Very nice guy. If you just Google Wes Coon State Farm, his contact will show up right there. He'd love to chat with you and start introduction stuff with you guys if you're interested in any insurance questions at all. So thank you to Wes and his team for sponsoring our event here. Let's go ahead and get started here. Aaron, Gary, Jen, thank you guys so much for taking the time out of your President's Day to talk to us and produce some great content here for parents, students. And we'll go ahead and get started today. I kind of wanted just to introduce a little bit you guys. Tell us a little bit how your school year is going at Westminster, U City, and Ursuline. Obviously, Gary may not be able to, but Aaron and Jen for sure. So let's go ahead and get started. Aaron, if you want to just give us a quick little update on how Westminster is going this year.
Well, I would have to say, in light of how it could be, we've been on campus since August, and I know for me, and I probably speak for some of my colleagues, maybe a lot of them, when we started the year off, with the protocols and procedures in place for COVID, I don't know if any of us expected that we would never go through a shutdown. I think people were betting that by September or so we'd be shut down due to an outbreak at school. But praise God, we haven't had that happen. And definitely in class, on campus learning is definitely preferred and better than the online. And so I'll just say, just pleasantly surprised. School, it's very different. It's just a very different thing, from our schedule, from the protocols, even to some of the things that have been done to the building, what we have to do day in and day out. But we've, with the grace of God, we've made it work. So, knock on wood, we are into mid-February and haven't had any major outbreaks at Westminster, and have been able to, for kids and family members who have contracted the virus on the outside, been able to trace them. Yeah, I just feel very blessed and fortunate, and but I'm looking forward to a time when sports is hard, but we're still getting it done. I cannot complain because it could be worse. God is good, so I'm thankful for it.
That's awesome. Thanks, Aaron. Hey, Jen.
Yeah, we are in school every day, so that's been nice to have everybody in the building. Like Aaron said, it looks a little different, but we're still, trudging ahead. As far as the sports go, we have not missed a beat since fall started. Spring was a problem, but we haven't missed a beat since fall started. And now we're in the winter season, and in a couple of weeks, we're going to start the spring season. So it looks a little different with masks, but otherwise the kids are playing every single day, and we're happy about that.
That's cool.
Same. Yeah.
Good. Nolan.
Yeah, absolutely. So start off with a fun question here. Taking a look at the 10 strengths of a game changer coach, the 10 strengths of a game changer parent. Is there a particular one that strikes with a chord with you?
For me, I will say I really like embrace fun. So, in the high school athletic world, 97% of our high school athletes will have a terminal experience in high school, which means they're never going to play a team sport again once they graduate high school. So we have to say, what are we doing to prepare them for life after high school, after sports? Has to be bigger than winning and playing the game. So it's embracing the fun. And I think a lot of people forget to have fun. I see it with so many of my athletes. Some of them are playing it because mom or dad are making them, or they feel they have to. They're not playing it because it gives them joy. So embrace fun, embrace that joy really speaks to me.
Thank you.
Yeah, I would have to say on the 10 strengths of the game changer coaches, develop individuals holistically. Having been a coach for many, many years, I look more at, my opportunity as a coach now, less about, trying to get a player to think in terms of moving on to the next level and things like that. That's okay. But more of it is, I see sports as, we probably all do, as a microcosm for life. And so my thing is to take every opportunity to, number one, develop a kid who they are, right? Who they are, even the way God has wired them, gifted them as a person, right? So who they are as a person, but also what are the things that I can help instill in them that will transfer into life, mental toughness, being able to, tell your body you got to get up and practice and get a good practice in when your mind is telling you all I want to do is go home, go to sleep and do something else, or, being able to take criticism, right? And not in turn, like just implode because the coach barks at you a little bit. And, but I also try to talk them through that. I'll tell them why, I barked at you a little bit, but I explain that to them. So anyway, I love all these moments that come, through like these individual relationships that happen in practice a lot, that happen in games. The cool thing that for me is to be able to, because I teach as well, is to be able to have some of my players in class, and so I kind of get them in a crossfire practice and hallway time, but also in the classroom to be able to, I'm thinking about, particularly because I coach boys, I'm thinking about, you're going to be someone's husband and you're going to be someone's dad, and what can I do to help you be the best husband and best dad you can be, and best neighbor, et cetera, et cetera. So
that's awesome.
Thank you. Great insights from both of you. Appreciate it.
Gary, can we hear you at all or not yet? Doesn't look like it. That's all right. I like seeing you here though. It's all good.
Hey, you can have him put up signs. Make signs. Get your iPad.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Cool. We'll move on to the next one. We'll jump into more of kind of the freshman mindset here. So what advice would you give to a freshman, incoming freshman, to get yourself plugged in at the high school level? We'll start with, I think, Jen on that one.
Sure. If you're a spring player, start going out now and watching the spring sports, or, catch the winter ball that's still going on. And then when the fall comes, or when the summer comes, definitely make sure you're engaging in every summer camp possibility, every summer workout possibility. If there's a strength and conditioning coach, you are working with a strength and conditioning coach, that you are finding out all of the team workouts for the summer, and you're at every single one as much as possible.
That's cool. Awesome.
So Jake, is this an incoming freshman? So this is an 8th grader, rising 9th grader? Okay. Yeah, I'll echo some of the things that Jen said, but the first thing I think is just crucial is whatever that sport is that you play, or sports, if you can get connected with the coach and see what they are doing over the summer, and see if you can get involved in that or be around that. Many schools are doing, whether it's basketball, they're doing open gyms, or if they're, baseball, maybe there's a camp or something that's going on. I think that is huge for a couple reasons. Not only are you begin to kind of see and get familiar with, what the program is going to be like, but also this is incredibly valuable to even for school. So then you are meeting, kids that you're going to be in class with. Most kids, they don't get their social group from the classroom. They get it from whatever they're involved in, right? So you just get a jump. So that's going to help everything. So now you coming in the fall, right? And you got people that that you can eat lunch with, which is a big deal first day of school in the cafeteria. But also even beyond that, you are connecting with coaches, over the summer. I think that just helps everything. I think it is really, really hard for incoming freshmen that are playing sports to have not connected, done anything over the summer with that school they're going to, and show up in August and try to go to a practice or a tryout. Man, that's tough. So yeah, familiar also as much as you can, like meet all of your coaches, make sure they know your name, be around. I just think, all of that's really good stuff. And parents, I love meeting parents. I love meeting parents in the summer. Like if I'm up at Westminster and parents will say, hey, my name is, Joe Smith. My son Trevor is coming in the fall, and if he's there, I think it's great, you don't have to be helicopter hover here, but introduce yourself, introduce your kid, get them connected and keep it moving.
That's cool.
Jake, and I would add this too. Sometimes there's freshmen who want to play this sport that, volleyball for, let's say girls sport, volleyball and field hockey. They're in the same season, so they have to select which one. Summer's a great opportunity to figure out, I gel with this team and this coach better than the other one. Or I might come in thinking soccer is my number one sport and then realize, whoa, these people are way better than I am. Now I have the opportunity as an incoming freshman to go, well, maybe I'll do lacrosse now instead of soccer, because that might be more successful for me. So I think that's really important too.
That's cool. Let me ask a off the cuff question here. This is great. I like how it's geared a lot towards sports, but maybe there's a family member that isn't involved in sports, and it's just school for them. What's a good way for them, him or her, to get plugged in, either academically or some clubs around the school or anything like that? Any advice that you'd give for that individual?
Yeah. Yes, actually, kind of the same. I know I'm sure most schools do something even outside of sports, maybe have some sort of programs, or, I know Westminster kind of has the Camp Westminster. And so when we have families that are looking at Westminster and they got a kid that's either the kid is coming to middle school or even 9th grade, is trying to get them connected to the school in the summer. Socially, the same type of thing is huge. So I would, whatever school it is, I would ask, if there's a freshman counselor, what are some things over the summer? How can my son or daughter get connected? And sometimes too, you'll have like these, parents that are doing things over the summer with a group of kids. And for you to be able to connect with the school and the school say, hey, yeah, we have this parent group that they put on a couple swim parties over the summer, right? That's an opportunity for your kid to meet. So find some way to connect with a group of kids that you're going to be in the same class with before you go in the fall.
Cool.
Yeah. So at Ursuline, I actually host a freshman camp. So it's not necessarily sports related. And I do it right at the first day of summer. And I'm very intentional about creating opportunities for the freshmen to get to know each other and then to get to know some of the older kids. And I do it on that first day of summer, so they have all summer to kind of nurture those relationships. They have people to go to, to connect with and ask questions, even if they're not playing sports. And so I really like to do that. That's been successful and fun.
Yeah.
Great.
And if it's a private school, well, even in a public school, but if it's a private school, ask someone in admissions, like an admissions director. They should have their ear to the ground and know all that stuff. If it's a private school, there should be probably a grade level counselor that can get you plugged in.
And to the students on the call, I will say it's scary, but have the courage to go up to someone and say hello, and to introduce yourself and to forge that relationship. And, just because it's the first 5 people that you meet, you may not be best friends with them forever or right away, but it's somebody that it's somebody you can talk with. It's a connection. And so have that courage to say hello and start making connections.
Awesome.
And they're feeling the same way you do.
Yes.
They may look confident. They may look like they got a little swag going on, but no, they had the same nervousness in their stomach, couldn't sleep the night before you do. So.
And to the parents, I've been a parent of high school and collegiate athletes, and ask questions. Find a veteran parent to ask questions. Come to the athletic director and ask questions. I'd rather give you an informed answer than you to make a lot of assumptions. So don't hesitate to make those connections either.
That's cool.
Absolutely.
That's great.
Great stuff. Thank you. And so timely, because summer will be here before we know it. So I'll ask both of you. I know we're going back just maybe a few years, but if there's anything you could change about your freshman year in high school, what would it be?
Well, it was just a short time ago.
Of course, yeah. So, very good memories, of course.
I know, right?
I mean, let me think. So a couple of things for me. I never worked on my weaknesses. So I was a lefty, so I would just consistently shoot left-handed layups. I never worked on my right hand. I didn't like that, not having that success or whatever it was. So I would say work on your weakness. So when bringing up my daughter, I made them like, you do everything left-handed, you do everything right-handed. Like, I learned that lesson quickly. So work on your weaknesses. Don't work on the things that you do well. Work on the things that you don't do well. This wasn't really something that I had at my luxury, but everybody today does. And I'd say watch game film. Take advantage. Everybody's got Huddle and different game streams these days. Watch and learn from game film. Watch the professionals or the collegiate sports. So if you're playing basketball, watch a college women's basketball game. Don't watch the NBA game if you're a woman. Watch a college women's basketball game. And then the other thing is, I would do more strength and conditioning on my own. I would work harder outside of practice. So just a couple of things.
That's great.
So I'll say this about academic and sports, and I did have this conversation with my son as related to academics, but I wish someone would have communicated to me that, like, in 9th grade, academically and athletically, like, everything from this point on counts towards the next level. So if the goal academically is to go to college, right? Everything from 9th grade, literally, your transcripts from 9th grade, not 8th grade, 9th grade. So everything from ninth grade, it counts. And so what I mean is, the mindset needs to be a little different. The mindset should not be the one of, middle school and elementary school, depending on, what type of student you are. But just to think, even I said this to my son when he was starting ninth grade, I over the summer, we went to Breadco, and I just basically said, not to freak him out, I just said, everything from this point on counts, right? All of the records and the grades and different things. So that's in your mind at different times when either it gets hard or whether you just don't want to do it, okay? Because there's an end goal in mind. Athletically, it's the same way. Thinking in terms of, not when you get to varsity, I'm going to start you like that, like the vars, like that's it. But no, my freshman year, the things that I'm doing, as Jen mentioned, strength and conditioning is huge. If you can just get a little stronger, a little quicker, and a little faster, man, that really, when I think about major substantive changes that I've seen in players, that's where it is. It's like yeah, but the kid who's going to get a little bit stronger, quicker, faster, because he's been doing off-season conditioning, not just in the summer, but in the off-season, he's in that weight room, he's working on maximizing whatever speed and quickness, his body type will give him, but he maximizes that, right? All of that matters. And so if you're thinking, okay, I want a shot at playing collegiately, everything counts ninth grade. And so that's kind of, that's kind of what I would think about. And recognize this. I think the last statistic I heard was only 3%, or maybe it's less than 3% of high school athletes go on to play any sort of college sports. And if that's the case, right, you're like, okay, so I need to be in that, I need to have a minority mindset about working out and doing the extra things. I need to have a different mindset. So like, I need to be the one who is, when they say that there's off-season conditioning, I'm there every day because I know that only a small percentage, right? So I'm trying to maximize my opportunities, post high school. Well, then I need to be in that minority group, that less than 3%. That's probably the ones that are in there doing that, doing off-season conditioning and stuff.
That's great advice. Thank you.
Awesome. Blast from the past.
Right.
Two-part question here. Considering the rigors of being a student athlete these days, can you talk about the importance of strong time management skills? And then also, how does your staff, so the people around you, create a winning culture throughout the high school experience for those individuals? If that makes sense.
Two really different thoughts and ideas here. So speaking to being the rigors, the student athlete, I would say, don't procrastinate. Get yourself a good calendar and write things down and have due dates and be aware of that. To all of the student athletes, I say sit in the front row, pay attention, ask questions. I also think it's important to build in time to relax, but sometimes we can, get sucked into Netflix and it's hard to walk away. So, set your timer and say, okay, I've given myself a 30-minute break here to do whatever. And so once your alarm goes off, then you turn off the TV, it's back in the books. So I would start with that. And really, we've talked about this. Aaron and I both said this, very few kids get athletic scholarships. So but we do see a number of kids getting academic scholarships. That's where the money is at. And so you want to make sure that you are working just as hard academically as you are athletically. So it's important to not get lazy on either aspect, but really to stay on top of your books. And then, as far as with, creating a winning culture throughout my high school, for us at Ursuline, we emphasize being a person of character. And I value that over everything. And so I think that goes hand in hand with being a good student, being a good athlete. I think winning's a byproduct of that. So, it's an emphasis on being a person of excellence, being a person of character, and all those things are byproducts. That's the short version.
That's great.
Very good. Excellent.
Yep.
So I would say this, as Jen said, so you need a routine. It doesn't have to be complex, but you need one. So even if your routine is this, right? I go to school, I go to practice, I take a shower, I eat, I do homework for 2 hours or hour and a half. All right. You have to have a routine, okay? One that makes sense. You just have to have one, okay? Because that's going to help everything, right? Particularly as you're moving through high school. So have a routine. It can be simple. It does not have to be micromanaged. It can be, but it does need to have time attached to it, right? So if I get home at 6 o'clock, okay, by 6:30, I want to be eating. By 7 o'clock, I want to be into my homework, right? And the plan is to hopefully be headed towards the bed or rest at 9 o'clock, 9:30. Okay, that's your general, routine. That of course everything on his fall, but you gotta have that. The other thing that I will say, and this is huge. I mean, students, right? You have to make rest a priority. Oh my goodness, right? Not only physical rest, but that too, mental rest,
Yeah.
right? Mental rest. I remember one time my daughter, who she played soccer and all, and one night I come into her room and it's like I'm going to bed. It's like 12:30 and her light's still on, and I knew she just had a soccer game, and I go in the room and she's in tears, and she's got these note cards and she's trying to study, and she's like, "Dad, I can't remember anything," and I was like. I said, if your brain's tired, your brain's telling you need to go to sleep. She's like, but I haven't studied enough and blah, blah. And I said this to her. I said, babe, sometimes you got to take the B minus. There's other things that are more important. This one grade is not going to define you. I said, baby, you need rest, right? Put the cards away, go to bed. Right? Rest has got to be a priority, and you have to be a priority. Now, I'm going to say this other thing, and this may be hard. Parents, you might have to, you need this, and students, maybe your parents can help you get this, because this is looking back. I mean, someone would have needed to help me do this, but here it is. Discern the moment academically, right? And athletically. This is what I mean, discern the moment. Just like I mentioned with my daughter. So you're going to have to discern the moments when, okay, I got to grind it out, right? I got to discern the time when, you know what? Okay, man, I know I'm tired, but I really need to go ahead and study an extra hour, half an hour, 45 minutes. I got to discern that. That should not be the rule. I mean, that should not be the norm. You got to discern that, right? You also discern athletically, right? Okay, when is the time? You know what, man, this is going to be a long workout. It's got to be a long workout. But then there's those other times where your body is tired and it's telling you, I'm tired. It's telling you, I'm sore, I'm hurt, you need rest, you need food, right? You're getting headaches and all this stuff. So if you can learn to discern those things, discern academically, when do I need to push through? When do I need rest? Athletically, when do I need to push through? When do I need rest? Because they're all equal. Each of them will cause you to fall apart academically and athletically. So discern those moments if you can do that.
It's awesome. Thanks, Aaron. Thanks, Jim.
Excellent. Great advice again, and appreciated. Certainly a related question, with so much talk about getting a college scholarship, obviously with rising costs, it's something that everybody wants to accomplish. Is there any advice that you would give out on how to handle the pressure of getting a college scholarship, whether it be academic or athletic, just to a young person and to their parents? Any advice on handling that pressure?
I don't know if it's pressure, but here's the mistake I will tell you I have often seen is that I have young ladies that desperately want to say that they have a soccer scholarship, let's say, that they will choose to accept that scholarship from a school that they would never have gone to had they never offered them a soccer scholarship, and then a year later, they've left the school, they've probably left the sport, and they're at Mizzou, So So what I tell all of my athletes is this, there's a scholarship out there, there's a school out there, but fall in love with the school first, and make sure that it has the major you want. Make sure it meets all of your criteria as far as, is it close enough? Is it far away enough? That sort of thing. Then does it have the sport that you want to play? Then let's talk about the coach that's there, because that coach could be gone by the time that you get there the following year, or be gone in any of those 4 years. So I say fall in love with the school first. Make sure it has what you want, has what you need. Everything will fall into place. My daughter played college basketball, and she played at Spring Hill. It's 10 hours away. And I told her, as we're checking it out, I said, okay, Nora, if basketball leaves you tomorrow, if you can't play basketball again, are you still going to want to go to Spring Hill? Are you still going to love Spring Hill? And she said yes. And thank God she said yes, because her freshman year, she played 2 minutes, got a career-ending injury, and never played basketball again, but stayed at Spring Hill because she loved it. Okay, so that's so important. Love the school, love what you're learning, because that's really what's going to take you, down the road, especially if you're a female athlete. Let's be serious.
Yeah.
It's what you major in, it's what you do in college. It's not the sport that you play. So I would say definitely don't stress about scholarships, but and go to your athletic director, go to your coaches for wisdom and help and communication with other college coaches.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, very good, really good.
Yep.
I will say, and I'll talk about the athletic first. I think this is not to diminish anybody's own dreams, but parents and students, I think, is it realistic? Okay, and what I mean by that is, who else outside of your circle is validating your kid's potential, right? That's going to come in a variety of different ways. I mean, if your kid has a coach who played collegiately or professionally, and they've said to you in some ways, hey, I think, your kid's got a little something here. But that's, so evaluation is huge, and honest evaluations, especially when you think about that 3% and less, right? I remember I remember my kids I had this thought. I think my daughter she was either, I think, in 8th grade, and she was playing on a club soccer team, and she was pretty good, very fast, and I remember just really thinking that, like, she's good, but she's not a phenomenon. And my son was playing, I think, basketball or football, and they were both just they were solid, good athletes, but they weren't, and I was looking at them, I'm like, okay, like, neither of my kids, I remember coming to that realization, like, neither of my kids are going to be a D1 athlete. Neither of them. Maybe Division II if they really, really want it. Both of my kids, they enjoyed sports, but, and so at that point, I kind of shifted my own gears as a parent to say, like, realistically, like, I didn't, but I just said, I went to my wife, I said, you know what, realistically, I said, neither of our kids are Division I athletes. And if they busted their butt, maybe, but I'm like, we still don't know. I mean, so like, that evaluation really took pressure off us and them. We just said, hey, kid, play for fun, play as long as you want. If it's that important to you, you're not ready to be done playing, then we can think about, playing in college somewhere. So that's the first thing, realistic. I think also think about your kid. Is your kid a hard worker, right? So for those of you that played in college, I told my daughter this because she was thinking about it one time. I said, if you love soccer and you're not ready to be done, then let's try to make this happen collegially. I said, but other than that, they own you, right? I played college football and college baseball. One would have been enough. Like, so when all of my friends are in college, they're road tripping and everything, woo,
Yeah.
I'm practicing, I'm doing workouts in the morning why in the world we had to get up at 4:30 to do work? I don't get it. Like, coaches, what the heck? I still don't get it. Anyway, all of them are sleeping in, right? Their classes start at 10. Mine have to start at 8 because I got to practice, right? So I said, they own you. So if you are not If you're ready to be done, if you don't want that, if you don't want your life micromanaged, don't play college sports. So that's something to assess. But is your kid a hard worker? Here's the other thing too. Be okay if they just want to play, they love the game. Be okay with playing at a smaller school. Like if it's like, like if it's about the game for you, be okay with playing at a smaller school. Here's the other thing too. That idea of a scholarship, hold it loosely.
Yeah.
As Jen said, like there's so many things happen. I mean, I got. So when I was in high school, like I was recruited to play football at Mizzou, right? I'm super excited. Coach came to see me and everything. My coach got fired. He got fired, And I remember going to my high school coach, I was like, Coach, what's that mean? He's just like, he's fired. So like, you're done, unless someone else comes in. I end up going somewhere else. But I mean, you just don't know. So like, hold it loosely. And then have a backup plan, right? Have the backup plan that says, if I don't get a scholarship, hey, I'm just going to go to school at X, Y, and Z, and that's great. Academically, here's the thing with academic scholarships. I know very few people who get full ride academic scholarships. So don't think in terms of my kid's going to get a full ride academic scholarship. They can get bits and pieces. Like my daughter, she's down at Southeast now. Well, she got a lot of bits and pieces of scholarships to where, I mean, she's going to school for like really cheap, right? Because she got all of these scholarships, right? Different ones, bits and pieces, right? Not the whole. So think in terms of, hey, I want to get scholarships here and there to, so maybe then my parents don't have to pay the whole amount. They can subsidize a little bit. We don't have to take out a whole bunch of loans. But like think more of a practical way of getting, bits and pieces, smaller scholarships. Yeah, I think that's about all I have to say about that. Let's help.
I think that there's this mystery piece or this grandiose idea that parents have that their kid's going to get this full athletic scholarship. And I see the scholarships come across my desk, and I'm telling you, those don't exist. And the big ones come about one every 4 to 8 years. Otherwise, I see $2,000 across my desk, which is nice. But when you think about all the time and all the money you spent on club, strength conditioning, all to get them to that spot, it's nothing. So just be aware of that. I think everybody thinks, my kid's going to get a full athletic scholarship, and that's not going to happen.
Yeah, the other thing too, to that point, and this is what me and my wife made a decision, is because my daughter's playing club soccer, and if you've done anything with the whole club soccer scene, you know these teams that are traveling all over the country. I mean, they're spending, and we just decided, I was just like, babe, she's not a D1 player, and she likes it, she enjoys it, and we decided we were not going to, second mortgage the house in order to send her around the country playing soccer for her to get to her senior year and say, just want to go to school. So.
Yep. That's great. All good things. My head's hurting because I'm agreeing with everything. I'm nodding all the time. So great stuff. What advice would you give to a senior about to graduate, head off to, could be just a student going to a tech school or a university. It could be an athlete going to a junior college or a university, playing at all different kind of divisions. What advice would you give to that individual as a senior?
I would start by telling them to enjoy the journey. It's going to be such a great time of discovery and learning. There's going to be good days. There's going to be days that are really hard. But that's life. And this is just kind of, a couple steps on that journey of life for you. I would say, to start gaining some of your independence from mom and dad. For me, it was really good that my daughter went 10 hours away, because I said, okay, Nora, if you get sick, I can't help you. You have to be able to take care of yourself. And so learning how to take care of yourself, I think, is important. Have the courage to, be independent, to know that you're going to make mistakes, to know that it's okay to still pick up the phone and call mom, like my son did today, and said, should I put my jeans and my hoodie in the dryer? And I said, no, hang dry them. So enjoy the journey. Don't hesitate to ask questions. A lot of good's going to happen, a lot of hard's going to happen, but it's good.
You're a college student when you're scrounging around looking for quarters.
Absolutely.
And the laundry.
These days it's all built in, and
supporters.
yeah, these days they have text messages that say your laundry's ready. What was that? We had to sit around and wait for it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jeff.
Yeah, I think one of the things I will say is for those who are going off to school, as it relates to those of you who are fortunate enough you're going to a tech school, junior college, or university, and you're able to play sports, is enjoy it. And if ever it gets to the point where you're not enjoying it anymore because the cost is too high, then find a way to be done with it. It is, I've seen, guys that they're not enjoying it and they're trying to, hang on, and it's just the cost is too high. And so, that's what I say. As long as it's fun, as long as you're enjoying it. I mean, you're not a professional athlete. You're not getting. I mean, if you got a scholarship, but for the most part, it might be a partial, or you're walking on or whatever. But if you're enjoying it, keep playing. If not, it's okay. It's okay to say, I just want to go to school. I think the other thing too is, and this is just kind of some practical advice, recognize this, that you're going to go from in one day. So I remember my son, when we took him to college, let's say, for instance, he was going off on August 14th. So August 13th, guess what? He was still in our home, still had to abide by our rules, all of this stuff. August 14th comes, he hits the college campus, we drop him off, right? Whatever. Like, he wasn't sad at all. He's like, hey, I'm ready, kick it. Immediately, he has immediate independence, right? And so all that to say, so now, right, he's thrust into this world of independence, but he's still just, I mean, he was 17, 18. And so what I want to say is, like, don't feel like you have to now be able to handle everything. That's what mistake my son made the first year. It's like, he's got this stuff going on and he's not calling us. Like, he's thinking, and he told us later, like, I mean, his life falling apart, school, everything, right? He tells us later, and he's just like, well, I felt like I had to handle myself. Right. Just because, there's this arbitrary date set that school starts, like, it's not automatic, you become an adult like overnight. And so practical thing is, right, it is okay. You're really still like, I mean, you're just like an extended high schooler is what you are. Like, it's like an extension of that first year in college. It's like an extension of your senior year. Like, you are still that dude or that girl, like in high school. You're still goofy. You're still, don't know how to do laundry. Like, you're still that person. So don't think that, like, I got it together, right? So it's okay. The other thing too, parents, I would say this, both of my kids, before they went off, we had the college talk, right? Because I wanted to prepare them as much as possible. I didn't want them to be surprised. They're going to be surprised by anything, but we had a talk, like, and I think the points for our talk was it was God, family, friends, school, girls, sex. And then for my daughter, it was boys, swap out. But I was just like, this is what I realized. It's like, so parents, you are sending your young baby boy, young baby girl out into the world, right? I'm going to be this bold to say, don't you dare send them out there without giving them some knowledge. And even if you tell them, hey, this is what I did, it was not good, right? You got to tell them something. That's scary, to release them on a college campus and you have not imparted anything to them, right? All right. And so both of them took them out, right, and said, hey, whatever you think about, like, how corny this is, whatever, it's not corny. Me and your mom, we've invested 18 whatever years of your life, right? This is kind of like at the crux of, so you're going to get it. You're right. And I kept it short and simple, but I was just like, hey, do you have any questions about this? Because this is a different thing. So, parents, don't let say something to them, right? So,
Great.
So yeah, that's I know that's a lot. Sorry, but I hope you can get something out of there.
Great. Thanks, Aaron.
Thanks to both of you.
Yes.
Going back and taking another look at the 10 strengths of a game changer coach, what's another one that resonates with you, either from your own personal coaching experience or your colleagues at your respective high schools?
Well, there's a couple of them. I really like create a healthy culture. It's really hard to be a teenager. And so we have to make sure that we are providing an environment that is safe, that is honest, that they can feel and be themselves in, that we're not playing any mind games. We're not playing any favoritisms. It's just they can be real, they can be themselves, and they can learn about themselves through the sport that they're playing. And so creating that healthy culture, learning, teaching them how to communicate well with each other, with adults, with their families. Those are all really, really important. I'm really big into, it's this healthy culture. There's so many toxic things and so many hard things, and you don't know their stories. You don't know, so many of our kids have a story to tell that, wow, we didn't realize they were living like this or in this scenario. And so to kind of create this healthy environment for them to be safe in, even if it's just for 2 hours every day, I think that's a good thing. And I also like the expect excellence. I'm big into that. I think they can go well together. So
That's cool.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jen.
Yeah, I'll piggyback off to create the healthy culture, and I'll just add a little bit. I think it's very important for your players to see you laugh and enjoy them, right? They can take a little more of you kind of getting after their butt a little bit if they see you laugh. Like even when they do something that's just irking you. Like I got this player, like he basketball, right? So he's trying to do this like reverse layup thing that is horrible, like. And it just drives me nuts, right? And so he's doing it in practice, and I said, that's just like you and an old girlfriend. Like you just can't give that up. I'm like, it's so good, Like, and the kids are just dying laughing. Like I'm just roasting this kid. I was just like, why do you do that? It's not good, And so I'm kind of hiding part of my frustration, but they're all laughing, But so like the kids should see you laugh. They should see you like your players should know that you enjoy them, even if maybe you're not the laugh guy. You got stoic. But even like if you got, you got quick wit or whatever, like let the kids know that you enjoy them, right? Outside of their performance. That's a big thing. Model effective communication is a huge one. I had a coach that was coaching with me. He's a little bit older than me, more seasoned. Like I remember I was coaching football, and this, one of our kids is running a touchdown, and one of our other kids runs up, and the play's going down, and he just hits this kid in the back. I mean, he just hits him in the back, just levels this kid, and the ref throws the flag. I am irate. I am screaming like, and I just can't wait. I'm like, what number is that? And the coach's like, it's number 44. And I am almost on the field because I'm just like, what's going on? And my assistant coach comes up to me and he says, Coach, he goes, I don't know if he knew that was wrong. And it never even occurred to me. And so I calmed down and I bring the kid over and I said, do you know what you did wrong? And he goes, no. And I said, you didn't know that you couldn't? He's just like, no, I didn't know that you couldn't do that, right? It was his first year playing and everything. So it really helped me understand this about communication, right? You can never expect that they know what you mean. The other day I'm coaching a kid, right? Every time he gets the ball, he comes up right the right side of the court, like right in the trap zone. I keep telling him, get to the middle of the court, get to the middle of the court. You have more options, and he's just like, so he comes out, like I've been saying this for the whole game. He comes out and I said, do you understand what I mean when I said, get to the middle of the court? And he says, yes. And I said, tell me what I mean. He says, yes. And why do you think? So anyway, not assuming, right, that kids know, and you're modeling good communication, especially if you say, what did you hear me say? What do you think that means? Okay, let me tell you what that means for me, right? Which is good communication skills anyway. But that's a big one. Those two are really good.
That's awesome. That's cool.
Great stuff.
Flip to the parent one here. Which one of these 10 strengths you see this generation of parents struggle with, or maybe one that you struggled with, if you don't have an answer to the first part, and why?
I'm seeing my parents and parents in general struggling to embrace the fun and horribly embracing failure. Like it's they won't accept it. there's a vision that I will never forget of leaving one of my daughter's high school basketball games, and we're driving home, and the car in front of us is her one of her teammates, and the dad were at a stop sign or at a stoplight, and the dad is just screaming at her about the game, and it's a game, people, it's a game. And so, I see so many of my parents forgetting that this is first and foremost fun, and it's fun for their kid and not shouldn't be fun for them. So you're not playing a sport so you can go to all of the weekend parties at the hotels when your team's traveling, moms or dads. It's for your kid. So I think the parents forget that this is first and foremost has to be a fun thing for their kid. And then failure is so important. It's how you learn. And so to not be mad about it, to not scare them to feel that they can't fail or make a mistake. So those are the two things that I really, it makes me sad because I observe it a lot.
Yeah, I will. There's two that I'll point out, but like the embrace failure, and I have another picture in my mind of a parent that I feel like did it right. You all know, or at least know of Mike Matheny, and so I coached Blaze when Blaze was in 7th grade, and Mike, Mike, when he could, he would get to the games, and I'll never forget this game we played, and there was something that Blaze, I don't know if he, there was something that happened that I think whatever it was, I mean, it was some sort of feel that led to something happening, a rally or whatever, and I think the players, they were handling it well, but I could tell that like they were kind of disappointed in something that he did, and I'll never forget after the game, man, Mike, I just have this picture in his mind. He just came up. He didn't say anything about what had happened.
Yeah.
He put his arm around Blaze and smiled at him, and they just started walking off to the car. And I was just like, I mean, if I wasn't a Mike Matheny fan, and I was just like, did you see that? I mean, it was just great. I mean, here's Blaze, he's kind of like this, and he just looked at him. And he said, how you doing? You're right. And he put his arm around him, and they walked to the car. Don't even talk about it. So I think that embracing failure, like Jen was just saying, I mean, he was communicating, this is a game. Is this a game? You were trying, weren't you? So what? The other thing I would say is like the ask questions. That's something I think is huge, is to be able to say, even questions like this, not particularly about the game. Here are some questions that are as good as gold. Hey, how are you doing? After the game, how are you doing? Whether you win or lose, how are you doing? I'm good. I'm not good. Or I don't know. Okay. How do you feel? Not so good. Why not? Well, those get into some great conversations. Or a question where you say, I'm trying to think of the other question. What is something you liked about the game? What is something you liked about the game? What is something, and if you have a kid like, kind of my daughter's like this, like, some of the, your athletes, like, they can never see anything good. Like, they're just the driven kid, like if they didn't score 4 goals, everything sucks. Like everything, like really everything, like it's all terrible. So if you have that kid, say, what did you like about the game? Nothing. Well, pick one thing that you think was maybe okay. Right? You get the kid, and even if they say I can't think of anything. So, well, what are you disappointed in? Right? But there's some very, very good questions, particularly ones who can make your kid feel like you care for them, and so those questions, I hope and wish that parents would ask more of the good questions.
Yeah, it's good. Love Mike Matheny, by the way.
Yeah, good dude.
Thanks to both of you. I love that ask questions part. I've learned over the years I wasn't as good when my children were young, but as they progressed, sometimes it was what was the most fun part of the last couple hours of the game, of the practice, and did you learn anything?
Yeah.
I got better about asking open-ended questions because, as you know, a lot of kids, especially teen boys, they're real good at just one-word answers. Yep. Nope. Okay. Whatever. So I try to keep it open. And did you learn anything? Great stuff. Really appreciate all of this. So we'll close out here, kind of staying in the vein here with the 10 strengths, and certainly some overlap, of course, but switching to what it's all about, the athlete, student athlete. Go ahead and pick one, each of you, if you would, please. One of the 10 strengths of a game changer athlete that you'd love to just share something about.
I would say commit to growth. So many of our student athletes are so stuck on this instant gratification world that we live in, and having whatever they want at their fingertips like that. And that's not always, that's not growth. It takes hours and long days and hard work to become stronger, faster, smarter, and better skilled. And so you have to commit to it. I have kids that say that they want to win. But when I ask, what are you doing to win? What are we doing to make that happen? Well, I go to practice. Well, you have to do more than just go to practice. What is that? So I worry that I think we have to do a better job of understanding, getting them to understand what commit to growth means. And so if you really want to excel, if you want to win, if you want to be a champion, it takes more than 2 hours a day at practice.
Yeah. I would say the know yourself is huge, I think, in a couple different ways. I think even as it relates to your ability, I remember in high school having a basketball coach, and one of the best things that he could have done for me is he helped me understand who I was as a basketball player and my role. He didn't say it this nice, but but he at least communicated it. He said, hey, this is what I need you to do. This is your role. He said, you are our defensive specialist, you go in and shut people down. He said, you are not going to score even 10 points. He said, what I need you to do, he says, when I put you in the game, it's for one main reason. It's to play defense. He said, if you get a layup, right, or you get a rebound or a steal, he said, that's gravy. He said, your role, he said, is defense. You're not a scorer, okay? You're not a playmaker. He said, you are good at defense. And so I embraced that role, and it made sense. I mean, I was very quick. I was very athletic. I was limited in my ball handling. I was limited in these other places. I wasn't very tall. So there's that piece, but then also there's the piece where you know yourself, even as your personality, because we're in this culture that compares, the kids compare themselves, and it's never apples to apples. It's always apples to oranges, but the kids don't see it that way. So know yourself. Say, hey, you know what? Yeah, Joe Smith may be the rah-rah guy. He's the one who gets the team fired up, break down, that may not be you. The more quieter, reserved, guy. I mean, you're just going to go quietly about your job, but you're dependable, right? So if you know yourself, that's going to help you from trying to compare yourself to others, which is a game you will never win. There will always be someone who, you just don't stack up to, right? So know yourself and embrace that. That's a wonderful thing, because no one can be you, do you what you do better than you. So be okay with that.
It's awesome.
Great advice for life.
Yes.
That's right.
Great.
And I love the basketball example, because in 8th grade, I scored 2 points a game. But my job was to set screens and shut somebody down and know what flavor of bubble gum they were chewing.
That's right.
I love that example.
That's great. Hey, thank you guys so much for being on the call and taking the time out of your President's Day to talk about how to give advice and influence some high school aged student athletes and even some parents. So thank you to Wes Kuhn. Thank you, Aaron. Thank you, Gary. Gary, we're gonna get you on another call, man. We'll get it rolling, no worries. And Jen, thank you guys. Thank you so much. Again, we got Westminster Christian Academy, University City High School, and Ursuline Academy. And you guys are very well represented of your schools. So thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Okay, take care.
Much appreciated.
Bye.